Okay, hello everyone. Oh, someone just wait,
Hello.
one more person. Okay, there we go. Hello everyone. Thank you for taking the time to attend the info session today. I know it's bright and sunny outside and we're all at our computers right now, but thank you for making it. Um, so we just want to acknowledge that we're hosting this meeting from the traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. We honor their connection to these lands and recognize sport as a way to foster reconciliation and unity. I know if anyone is tuning in from any other regions, feel free to put in the chat if you'd like to acknowledge where you're tuning in from.
So the gender equity and coaching is a major focus area currently that we have targeted over our strategic plan. We're halfway through that stage now. So we're looking to up the level throughout the year. We're trying to follow suit with the leadership conference, which was a partnership with mentorship, was the main topic, and we're trying to expand that and execute that throughout the summer heading into the new upcoming season. So we wanted to give Canadian Women in Sport a huge thank you for offering us a grant to be able to run this program. Me and Jess have gone through a few training sessions throughout the past few months, just learning how we could develop our coaching program among women and grow women's participation over the next few seasons. We also got a small grant from them to review all our policies and make it more gender verbiage, as well as help finding ways to promote women into various roles in the various clubs throughout the province.
So just for a bit of a program overview, we want to acknowledge the importance of female leaders in the community and the role that plays in helping to grow female participation in all levels of squash. And so, yeah, with this, our annual report from 2024 showed that 28% was the female participation rate for Squash BC sanctioned competitions and leagues, and 26% was the female membership representation. So kind of one of the goals of this program is how can we build advancing gender equity in the sport into our strategic plan. So that's kind of what's rooted behind this. So today we kind of just went over a bit of a background and introduction. We'll go through some program goals, objectives, and outcomes, mentor and mentee expectations. Then we'll introduce the mentors, a little program timeline, and the next steps. So this program was developed for new female coaches, community leaders, and aspiring ambassadors. And this is to help grow, connect, and develop the tools to deliver grassroots programming at your local club. So it will include various forms of mentorship, including group mentoring and peer mentoring through the webinars that we have scheduled throughout the summer. And then also some one-on-one mentoring that will happen outside of the webinars. And we will also provide you with some tools and resources that can be used to help work towards building your skills to plan and facilitate grassroots programming that will ultimately aim to increase female participation in squash. So some goals, objectives, and outcomes. First, we'd like to provide a space to learn and collaborate with each other, and this will be done through the various forms of mentoring, as I just briefly touched on. We want to learn valuable leadership tools and how these can be applied to becoming a leader in your squash community and how you can maybe adjust these to the needs of your local club. Another objective is for you to become a Women's Squash Week ambassador and sort of act as an advocate for Women's Squash Week to help encourage female participation and help run programming at your club. And then ultimately at the end to lead your own 4 to 6 week program with guidance from mentors and skills that you will have learned throughout this program, and also some support from Squash BC to help plan, facilitate, and execute a 4 to 6 week program that you can bring to your local club as well.
So we have an exciting lineup of mentors already lined up to support the new mentees throughout the program. We'll introduce all 4 of the mentors shortly. The mentors are going to be helping present a presentation on a discussion topic. We'll talk about that in a bit. That we'll each do a webinar that's roughly an hour long. They're going to support the mentee with goal support, as well as doing some mutual respect and supporting the mentee to complete the program event template. So as mentioned earlier, we're going to provide some tools and resources to all the participants on how to develop a program. So it's going to have a step-by-step guide. So it'd be everything from like ensuring you book the courts at your facility, how to engage with your club pro or club admin staff to book the courts, to how to market it, how to get participants in communications and whatnot. So we're going to provide all those tools and resources in a document, and then the mentee will work through that with the mentor, with support from both me and Jess. And then the mentee's expectations is to attend the monthly webinars. We're hoping to have everyone attend at least 2 of the 4. There's going to be 4 sessions. We would love to have everyone attend all 4, but we all know we all have busy schedules and that could be a challenge. But we'd hope to get everyone on at least 2. They'll take the initiative with the mentors to schedule the conversations. We don't want to put the extra work on the mentor. They're going to have a few mentees. So we want the mentee to ensure that they're following up with their mentors to provide those various resources, ensuring that they respect both the work that their mentor puts into this program, as well as the club. The club's also hopefully going to support you in this process. We also want to complete assigned tasks by the submission deadlines. So that's going to be various like reports or ensuring you complete your event template to your mentor before you discuss it. So those timelines are going to fluctuate throughout the season. And then you're going to complete a program event template, which will all be provided by us with support from both the mentor and myself and Jess.
Okay.
And then Squash BC's additional support. So we're going to provide support throughout the program as much as we can. We'll do check-ins. Either myself or Jess will be assigned to one of you, and we'll work together throughout the program. We'll coordinate between the mentors and mentees. So we're going to be talking about it in a bit, but we'll assign you to a mentor, and we'll help engage those conversations. We're going to do some program evaluations. So throughout the season, if there's any problems that come up, feel free to either message us. We'll also have an anonymous board where you put in some suggestions to add to the program. We'll also provide tools and resources. So if there's anything that you think you need to support yourself throughout this journey, we will work on some resources to help that going forward. And then there'll be various levels of funding support with this program. We're just ironing out those final details, which should be shared shortly.
Okay, so now to introduce the program mentors. So first we have Dara. Dara's been playing squash for over 20 years. She's played a huge role in increasing female participation numbers at the Squamish Squash Club. And she is on this call today. So Dara, I will pass it off to you to introduce yourself further and talk about your mentorship focus areas.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Dara and I live in Squamish, but I have previously lived and played squash in both Whistler and Vancouver. And I kind of inadvertently created an atmosphere in the Squamish Squash Club where we have 50% female participation. So I say inadvertently, I stumbled upon a formula and then I repeated the formula and then I refined the formula. And so my goal as a mentor is actually to share that formula with all of you. And I've kind of mapped it out. There's 6 steps that go from kind of preparing for your event, advertising the event and signing people up, building the confidence, like kind of building the anticipation before they even show up, where they're gonna, just to set the stage for them having an even better time at a Women's Squash Week event, but also laying the groundwork for maybe them signing up for group lessons or getting a trial membership or something else, so that you're not a one and done, here's come to this event, and then it's a surprise to them that we want them to keep playing. And then we're going to talk about how to essentially reinforce the sport in their hearts and minds so that they want to keep playing, and some retention techniques. So each year in Squamish, we host Women's Squash Week events, and we actually host, we actually like limit the number of women because it sells out. So whatever the capacity, like at one point we had 80 women joining, we actually have our club at capacity now because of Women's Squash Week. So every fall when we do Women's Squash Week, we get all of our members to renew before we put in any of the efforts for Women's Squash Week, because I want to know how big I should make Women's Squash Week based on how many people have renewed, so that we don't oversell the club. And we end up with a nice revenue surge in the fall, as well as a nice surge of newer players, beginners. And it actually also casts a net for people who have played squash in the past. So we've with this like Women's Squash Week event, we're not only bringing in beginners. Sometimes we capture people who, oh, I played when I was a teenager in New Zealand, or the people come out of the woodwork because we bring some attention to the club. So we end up with people who join on a trial basis, people who join for the season, and we tend to retain 10 to 20 new people every fall from our bigger events and our bigger recruitment, which helps with the people who have fallen off as members who just don't renew. So it's been massive for the club revenue. Obviously, I'm really proud of being able to boast about it being 50%, approximately 50% female participation. When I ran the numbers across Canada, it was only 20% female participation in all of Canada, and we were at 50. So I like to, part of my motivation, obviously I'm here to like empower all of you to do something along these lines for your clubs as well. But my goal is to maintain that, and we've maintained that since 2021, so that we're 50% or better at our club, or women. I mean, we're better, but so yeah, that's me. And if you don't already know me, I'm fairly friendly and approachable, so don't hesitate to reach out, and hopefully you'll enjoy the insights that I have and the marketing perspective that I'm bringing to the sport.
Thank you. That was awesome. Lovely to hear how strong female participation you have over there. I'm sure you'll have a lot to share with everyone. Okay, so now we have Giselle. So unfortunately, Giselle couldn't make it today, but she started playing squash when she was in university, where she studied kinesiology and did a master's in biomechanics. And she's now been coaching for 12 years while also being a total elite athlete, as a 4-time provincial champion, and she represents Chile at the Pan Am Games as a bronze medalist in both 2019 and 2023. She's also coached Team BC at the Canada Winter Games and coached Team Canada at the 2022 Pan Am Junior Champs. And she's also, on top of all of that, extremely dedicated to building community through squash. So her mentorship focus areas will revolve around making squash a sport for life, the mental health benefits of playing squash, and some practical tools for entry into the sport, starting at various levels and various ages, as well as mobility and drills and proper recovery, how to treat your body, and tournament preparation, emotional control, positive self-talk. So that's what she will be focusing on. And then next we have Shelly. Shelly has been an avid volunteer in the squash community for over 40 years and has played a huge role in advancing female participation through creating opportunities for female involvement. She was the chair of the Women and Girls Committee for Squash BC from 2019 to 2022 and has lots of experience coordinating events such as the BC Doubles Tournament, coaching clinics, weekend leagues, and much more. So I will pass it off to Shelly now.
Thank you, Jess. My name is Shelly Neal, and I started playing squash at the River Club. And I just realized it probably wasn't 40 years ago because I played racquetball before that. But always volunteering my time to um, be a captain of the squash league, the recreational leagues, the tournaments, helping out. So I really love how when you get volunteers together, how they bring that community in and how important volunteers are. Their enthusiasm, how they encourage others and bring other people along with them, and the socializing part of it too is really important. So that's how I think I approach getting more women and girls playing. Communication's really key. I can't wait to see Dara's 6 steps, because I do know a lot about how she's helped the squash community, and the 6 steps will break it down really nicely for us. So I think we can all learn from each other as well. The other key for me is year-round programming, because we've got Women's Squash Week in September, and we follow up with skills programming 6 weeks, or however each club wants to do it. And then there's so much more opportunity to bring women to leagues or to drop-ins, or semi-coordinated squash groups. So that's something I've got experience with, and just helping coordinate events tournaments, and all that comes from my background in project management, and I was in construction prior to retiring, and of course I've got a little bit more time now, but I would say when I was working, I was in a leadership role, and I still took on all the volunteer roles. So it can be done before you retire. It can be done at any stage of your career, with kids or without. And just the volunteering is so important.
Thank you so much. I definitely agree. Events that are volunteer run are clearly so passion driven. So it's nice to hear you speak about that. Okay, and now we have Tasha. Tasha works with the Squash Pros at Van Lawn and is a fierce and passionate advocate for advancing women in squash. She's a strong figure in the squash community with lots of experience coaching, facilitating, and officiating, and is dedicated to growing the squash community. So I will pass it off to you, Tasha.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Tasha Dukas, and I started working as a paid professional squash professional in September at Vancouver Lawn. And right now I'm coming to you from Hollyburn, so I'm filling in for some coaching for the next couple of weeks as well, and working with some kids here. Very passionate about this program. I think this is a one-of-a-kind program. I don't think it's ever been done in the history of squash in Canada anywhere. So I'm very excited that this is happening and that we're coming together to really support the growth of females in sport. I've been involved in the board of Squash BC since 2017, and I was on the committee that developed the So I've been involved with Women's Squash Weeks for since the inception, really, when Squash BC took it on to bring it to the province. On a national level, helped and collaborated to build a framework for a 6-week program for beginners and intermediates. So there's lots of room to work together, to collaborate together. And my focus area is roles in the corporate world And I really want to try and bring this aspect to the mentorship to talk about how we can work with our facilities, how we can develop allyship, because we're not on this journey alone. We're in it together we're in it with the facilities, we're in it with the head pros. Like, how can we all work together and figure out the right ways to set up a program that actually fits and aligns with what the club and facilities mission is? Because every club is different. There's a kind of, I think with membership, there's a different approach that's needed depending on what's kind of what's going to engage that club fully. And yeah, I want to help really support this growth in our province and beyond. But I really want to help with, as showing here, what kind of leader do you want to be? How can you leverage that and bring that into the facility that you're in? How you can, what tools you can utilize for that, and how the membership and how we can all collaborate together, right, to grow this sport that we all love so much. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Tasha. Okay. So now we're gonna go into the webinar timeline. This is also on our website, which I'll put a link in the chat for later. So today we're doing the info session. The first webinar facilitated by Tasha is going to be on May 15th at 6 p.m. And then the webinars after that have soft dates. They're not confirmed quite yet, but they will be. Sorry, one of them says mid-July. It should say mid-June for Shelley's, and then Giselle's is mid-July. I'll fix that. But by the first webinar date, by May 15th, we should have the rest of them confirmed. And I will let you know when we update that. And then the wrap up, the key learnings and the next steps for the end of the webinar sessions is going to take place after Women's Squash Week, so we can sort of have a recap on how everything went for everyone at their clubs. And so that will also be confirmed by May 15th, the first webinar session. So next steps and important dates. We are going to open the program registration, and that deadline is going to be May 14th, the day before the first webinar session, which is May 15th. And then the following week of May 20th, we will have the mentor assignments and we will share them with you. And that process will reveal itself when you register for the program. And I will put the registration link in the chat so that everyone can access it. And then the mentee agreements will be signed by May 31st, and this will just sort of involve kind of what we talked about with the mentor and mentee expectations, just so that we can sort of make sure that we have as much involvement as we can. And then we'll have a Women's Squash Week ambassador information session on June 4th. And then Women's Squash Week is scheduled from September 19th to October 6th. And this is just to sort of plant some seeds. I know this is a few months away, but it's really good to get the ball rolling early, as anyone in event coordination may understand. So Josh is going to briefly talk about what Women's Squash Week will look like.
Yeah, so Women's Squash Week, I see many ambassadors here that have done sessions in the past. This year, we're doing 2 weeks again, but also includes 3 weekends just for some flexibility at the various clubs. We know some clubs start a bit later than some. So then this time frame gives most clubs the opportunity to run a Women's Squash Week event, especially to launch their seasons. So as you see in the bottom right graph, numbers have been increasing. We're just shy of 600. We're hoping to smash that 600 record this coming season. And we were hoping to get all 8 zones back involved. So that's various districts across the province. We're hoping to get all 8 involved again this year. There will be ambassador funding returning. It'll be very similar to the past season funding requirements. We'll also have ambassador shirts for the various ambassadors, just to keep that informal look. And the ambassador session that just mentioned is Wednesday, June 4th at 6 p.m. That will also be on Zoom. If you're unable to attend, we'll record that session also, and it will be posted on the Squash BC website. As you can see, and Tasha mentioned it earlier, there's various needs for the various clubs, but it was very exciting to see last year that we had over 50% of the participants playing squash for the first time. We defined playing squash as a new player as any player that's played squash 3 or less times in the past 2 years. So that was the metric we used, and I was happy to see that over 50% of those people were new to the sport. So we're looking at ways this year to help retain that 50%, as well as find ways to get them involved in the various competitions and whatnot throughout the province.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop the recording now, and then. Okay.
Yeah, I got you this.